Hey everyone, and welcome to Vintage Car Chronicles, your daily dose of automotive history.
That's right. We're on Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, and YouTube.
So today, we're taking a deep dive into a car that's often called the French Ferrari.
The Peugeot 406 Coupé.
And believe me, its story is a lot more exciting than you might think.
Oh, definitely. It's a story of defying the odds.
Yeah, imagine this Peugeot struggling financially in the 90s.
Right. Not exactly the best time to be thinking about luxury coupes.
And they almost scrapped the idea of making another coupe altogether.
But then...
The 406 Coupé comes along, like a phoenix from the ashes.
and becomes a modern classic.
It's amazing. And you know what else is amazing?
What's that?
The 406 Coupé is part of a long line of Peugeot coupe.
Oh, yeah. They've been making coupes since way back in 1898.
Even before the Model T was a thing.
Exactly. It's a real heritage.
But after the 504 Coupé ended production in '83,
There was a bit of a void.
a coupe-shaped void,
You could say that.
and then, as we said, Peugeot hit some tough times financially.
Almost killed the dream of another coupe.
But somehow, the 406 Coupé project got the green light.
In the mid-90s,
And here's the twist.
they brought in Pininfarina,
Why, Pininfarina,
the legendary Italian design house.
the ones who designed those incredible Ferraris.
That's right.
So what were they doing with Peugeot?
Well, they didn't just style the 406 Coupé.
They did.
They handled the entire production process.
The whole thing.
Everything. Development, manufacturing, the works.
That's incredible. I always thought Pininfarina was mainly about design.
They are known for their design work, but Peugeot really trusted them with this project.
Wow, that's a huge leap of faith.
It was quite unusual for the time.
I can imagine. So what did Pininfarina bring to the table that Peugeot couldn't do themselves?
Well, for starters.
I mean, didn't Peugeot even have their own design team?
They did.
Or did?
But believe it or not, they actually refused to work on the 406 Coupé.
They refused?
Yep. Too busy with other projects and maybe a little intimidated by Pininfarina.
Makes sense. I mean, it's like saying no to a dance-off with the world champion.
Exactly.
So how did Pininfarina tackle this challenge?
Where did they even begin?
Yeah, where do you even start with a project like that?
They started the way they always do, with sketches.
Ah, good old-fashioned pen and paper.
In 1992, they began visualizing the 406 Coupé putting pencil to paper.
So they had a vision right from the start.
By 93, they had full-scale models.
And in '95, they finalized the design with a reference model.
That's right.
But this was the '90s, right?
It was
Assembly lines weren't as flexible as they are today.
not even close.
So how did Pininfarina build this car with its unique curves and shapes?
They had to develop specialized tooling.
Specialized tooling.
Yeah, think of it like a tailor making a custom suit.
Okay, I'm following you.
You need specific tools and patterns to create something unique.
Right, to get that perfect fit.
Exactly. And that's what Pininfarina did for the 406 Coupé. They created custom molds and processes to shape the car's body.
So it was more like crafting a work of art than mass production.
Precisely. And even the manufacturing was pretty complex.
How so?
The chassis parts came from Peugeot's factory in Sochaux.
Okay,
Then you had specific coupe parts coming from a Pininfarina subcontractor.
got it.
And the engines were sourced from other Peugeot facilities.
So it was a real team effort.
It was. And all these pieces came together at two Pininfarina factories in Italy,
Two factories.
one for body assembly and painting,
And the other?
the other for final assembly.
So the 406 Coupé was quite the traveler.
It was a true collaboration. And before any 406 Coupé left the factory,
Yeah.
it went through rigorous testing.
Pininfarina doesn't mess around.
Not at all.
So how many of these French Ferraris did they actually build?
They built a total of 107,631 coupes.
Wow.
Way more than their initial contract for 70,000.
That's incredible. They blew past their target.
They did. This car was a hit.
It's obvious people loved it. But was it just the Pininfarina styling that made it so popular?
The styling was definitely a major draw.
I mean, it's a gorgeous car.
But the 406 Coupé was more than just a pretty face.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. What else made this car so special?
Well, for starters, it offered a fantastic driving experience.
Really?
It had this unique blend of comfort and sporty handling.
So you could cruise in style and still have fun on a twisty road.
Exactly. The steering was responsive. The Brembo brakes were effective.
Brembo brakes. Those are serious.
They are. And here's something you might not expect. It was actually quite practical.
Practical. A sleek coupe.
You wouldn't think so, but it could comfortably seat 4 adults.
No way.
And it even had a ski hatch and a folding rear seat.
A ski hatch.
Yeah.
Now that's something you don't see every day in a coupe.
They really nailed that grand touring vibe. Stylish, comfortable, and perfect for a weekend getaway.
Sounds like the perfect car for a road trip through the Alps.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the engines.
Oh, yes, the engines.
Cup.
The heart of the beast.
The 3.0L V6 was a real gem.
A V6.
That sounds lovely.
It was jointly developed by PSA and Renault.
Interesting. A French collaboration.
It was, and it was a great engine. But there was another engine, right? The one that got the Porsche treatment?
Ah, the Porsche-tuned V6.
That's what I want to hear about.
Now, that's a story for the ages.
Okay, you've got my attention. Let's hear it.
Well, in 1999, Peugeot decided to give the V6 a bit of a power boost.
Makes sense. They wanted to keep things exciting.
And they didn't just tweak it themselves, they sent the engine over to Porsche,
To Porsche.
the masters of performance.
Wow, that's serious business. What did Porsche do to this engine?
They worked their magic on the ES9J4 engine.
The ES9 what now?
The ES9J4, it's the engine code.
Oh, okay, got it.
They added variable valve timing to the intake camshafts.
Sounds technical. Can you explain that in plain English?
It basically gives the engine more precise control over its breathing, more air in, more power out.
Ah, so it breathes better.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
the results were impressive.
How impressive.
The power output jumped to 210 horsepower.
That's a healthy increase.
And it wasn't just about raw power. Porsche also improved the engine's responsiveness, especially at lower revs.
So it was more fun to drive?
Exactly. And they even managed to squeeze out a bit more fuel efficiency.
More power,
Yeah.
better response, and better fuel economy. That's a win-win-win.
It was a great move by Peugeot.
It sounds like this Porsche collaboration really elevated the 406 Coupé.
Absolutely. It added another layer of sportiness and refinement.
Okay, but let's not forget about the diesel option.
The diesel.
I have to admit, I'm a bit surprised they even offered a diesel in a coupe.
It was a bold move.
Especially in 2001 when diesels weren't exactly known for their performance.
They were more about fuel economy and torque.
So what diesel engine did they use?
They went with their largest diesel, the 2.2L HDI.
Interesting. So they leaned into the strengths of a diesel engine?
Exactly.
No.
Torque and fuel efficiency.
Did it actually work? Did people buy the diesel 406 Coupé?
Surprisingly, yes. It was actually quite successful.
Really?
The combination of a comfortable, spacious coupe and a fuel-efficient engine appealed to a lot of buyers.
I can see the appeal.
Yep.
Imagine cruising down the French Riviera in a stylish coupe sipping fuel.
Not a bad way to travel.
Not bad at all. But you know what else I find fascinating about this car?
What's that?
Those distinctively colored rear-view mirrors.
Ah, yes, the mirrors.
What's the story behind those? Why are they that dark gray color?
It was a deliberate choice by Pininfarina.
They didn't just pick a random color.
No, they had a very specific design philosophy in mind.
Okay, I'm all ears.
They chose that dark gray to visually break up the car's lines.
Break up the lines.
Yes, they wanted to make the mirrors almost disappear when you look at the car from the side.
So it's like they blend into the background.
Exactly. It was all about creating a sleeker, more seamless silhouette.
Now that you mention it, I can see how those dark mirrors emphasize the car's flowing lines.
It's a subtle detail, but it makes a big difference.
It's all about the details with Pininfarina.
Exactly. They're masters of their craft.
Well, I'm officially impressed. It sounds like Peugeot made a brilliant decision partnering with Pininfarina.
They did.
The 406 Coupé has stunning looks, a great driving experience, even a touch of Porsche magic under the hood.
And it wasn't just a hit with buyers.
It wasn't.
The 406 Coupé also won a ton of awards.
Like what?
Well, it was named Most Beautiful Coupe in the World at the Milan Triennale.
Wow.
And it won the Car Design Award at the Turin Motor Show.
Impressive?
It was even voted Most Beautiful Car of the Year at the International Automobile Festival.
Beating out some serious competition, I bet.
It did. It beat out cars like the Mercedes CL600 and the BMW Z8.
That's a major accomplishment.
It really is. It speaks volumes about the 406 Coupe's timeless design.
A timeless design that continues to capture hearts and minds.
Exactly. And you know what?
What?
The 406 Coupe's legacy goes far beyond just awards and design.
Okay, tell me more.
This car has made appearances in pop culture.
Really? Like where?
Well, it was featured in the French comedy film Le Boulet. There's a memorable car chase through Paris.
Sounds fun.
And it's even been in video games like the Gran Turismo series.
So it's a star on and off the screen.
You could say that. And it also had a successful run in motorsports.
No way, I didn't know that.
Sohail Ayari won the French Super Touring Championship in a 406 Coupe.
Wow, a racing pedigree.
And Bruno Longepay had some notable success in rally racing with a modified 406 Coupe.
That's amazing. This car has done it all.
It really has. It's a testament to its design and engineering.
So what about its lasting impact? How is the 406 Coupé viewed today?
Well, it's definitely earned its place as a modern classic.
A modern classic.
Its design still looks fresh, and it turns heads wherever it goes.
It's a head-turner for sure.
And enthusiasts love it. They're constantly searching for well-preserved examples.
And I bet their value's going up.
You bet. It's a car worth keeping an eye on.
Okay, you've convinced me I need to start looking for a 406 Coupé.
Well, they're out there waiting to be discovered.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected creations can become the most enduring.
That's the beauty of the automotive world, always full of surprises.
Well said. But before we get too carried away, let's take a moment to catch our breath. We'll be back in a moment to explore the 406 Coupé's evolution, its special editions, and its lasting impact on the automotive world.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to Vintage Car Chronicles, where we're exploring the Peugeot 406 Coupé.
Before we went to our little break, we were talking about that Porsche-tuned engine.
Ah, yes, the ES9J4. ES9J4.
Right, ES9J4.
Yeah.
With its variable valve timing.
Exactly. But the 406 Coupé story doesn't end there.
Of course not. It had a whole life ahead of it.
And it went through some pretty interesting changes over the years.
Like what?
Well, one of the big ones was in 1999.
Okay.
Peugeot updated the interior and gave it a new dashboard.
A new dashboard. That's a pretty significant change.
It was. And it wasn't just about looks.
What else did they do?
They also introduced this new technology called multiplexing.
Multiplexing. Okay. You have to explain that one.
Basically, it's like a central control system for the car's electronics.
I'm not sure I follow.
Think of it like this.
Hmm.
Instead of having a bunch of separate wires running all over the car, you have a network of signals that are managed by computer chips.
So it's like a central nervous system for the car's electronics.
Exactly. It made everything more efficient and reliable.
And it allowed them to add more features without adding more wires.
Precisely. And that's exactly what they did.
What kind of features?
Things like automatic headlights, rain-sensing wipers, more advanced climate control.
Those are pretty standard features today.
They are. But back then, they were pretty cutting edge.
I guess we take a lot of this technology for granted.
We do, and Peugeot kept pushing the boundaries with multiplexing.
Really?
In 2001, they upgraded the system even further.
What do they add?
They added things like emergency brake assist.
Emergency brake assist. What's that?
It's a system that automatically applies the brakes if it senses an emergency situation.
Oh, wow. So it's like having an extra layer of protection.
Exactly. It could really make a difference in those critical moments.
Sounds like a pretty important safety feature.
It is, but not all of the changes were as well received.
Oh.
In 2003, they gave the 406 Coupé a facelift.
Facelift.
Yeah, they changed the bumpers and the headlights.
And people didn't like it.
It was a bit controversial. Some people loved the new look,
Okay.
but others felt it took away from the car's original elegance.
It's always a gamble when you mess with a classic design.
It is. Some people embrace change.
And others prefer the original.
Exactly. But let's move on to something a little more fun.
Okay, I'm all for that.
Ooh.
What do you have in mind?
Special editions.
Oh, yeah. Did the 406 Coupé have any cool special editions?
It did. There were a few that are quite sought after by collectors today.
Like what?
Well, one of the most memorable was the Satan Annie.
The Satan Annie. What does that even mean?
It means 70 years.
70 years. 70 years of what?
It was released in 2000 to celebrate Pininfarina's 70th anniversary.
Ah, Pininfarina's birthday.
Exactly. And they really went all out for this special edition.
Tell me about it. What made it so special?
Well, it came with exclusive paint colors and a luxurious leather interior.
Ooh, I love a good leather interior.
This one even had Pininfarina logos embossed on the headrests.
Wow. Talk about attention to detail.
And it had special alloy wheels.
Okay.
And to top it all off,
Yeah.
it came with a set of matching leather luggage.
Matching leather luggage. That's amazing.
It was a true celebration of Pininfarina's design and craftsmanship.
So how many of these Satan Annie editions did they make?
They only made 1,300 and 500 half.
Wow. So they're pretty rare.
They are, and quite valuable if you can find one in good condition.
I bet. But the Satan Annie wasn't the only special edition, right?
You're right, there was one more. The last hurrah.
The final curtain call.
In 2004, they released the Ultima Edizione.
The Ultima Edizione.
It was a farewell to the 406 Coupé.
I see. So what did they do to make this final edition special?
They loaded it with features.
Like what?
It had a premium JBL sound system
Okay.
and unique badging,
Oh, yeah.
and each car had a numbered plaque.
To make it even more exclusive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was available with all the engine options.
So buyers could choose their weapon of choice.
Precisely. It was a fitting send-off for a truly iconic car.
An icon that continues to inspire and captivate.
Absolutely.
We're back with Vintage Car Chronicles and our look at the Peugeot 406 Coupé.
And we're talking about its legacy?
Yeah, we've covered the design, the performance, the special editions, but I'm curious about its impact beyond just cars.
You mean its cultural impact?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did it influence culture or maybe change how people thought about certain types of cars?
I think it did in a way.
How so?
Well, think about it. Back then, French cars were known for being practical,
Yeah, economical,
right? Sensible cars for everyday life.
but not necessarily known for being exciting or stylish,
Exactly. But then the 406 Coupé came along.
and changed the game.
It was like Peugeot was saying, hey, we can do this too. We can build beautiful and exciting cars.
A bit of a statement.
Definitely. It became a halo car for Peugeot.
A halo car.
Yeah, a flagship model that showcased their design and engineering capabilities.
I see. So it raised the bar for them.
It did. It elevated their brand image, showed the world that French cars could be desirable, aspirational.
It's like they suddenly stepped onto the world stage and said, look at us. We've got style.
Exactly. And it had a ripple effect on the perception of coupes in general, especially in France.
Really? What was different about how coupes were viewed in France?
Well, at the time, coupes were often seen as niche vehicles.
Cars for a select few.
Exactly. They were associated with luxury, sportiness, exclusivity.
So they weren't really mainstream cars.
Not really, but the 406 Coupé challenged that perception. Because it was stylish, yes, but it was also practical and affordable.
So it was more accessible to the average person.
Precisely. It appealed to a wider audience. It wasn't just for the wealthy or the hardcore driving enthusiast.
So it kind of democratized the coupe?
You could say that. It made it more appealing to everyday people who maybe wouldn't have considered a coupe before.
That's pretty cool. It broadened the market for coupes.
It did. And I think that's a legacy that continues to this day.
Interesting. But let's talk about the people who already loved coupes, the enthusiasts.
The die-hard coupe fans.
Yeah. What is it about the 406 Coupé that still resonates with them today?
Well, first of all, its design has aged incredibly well.
It's a classic.
It has those clean lines, those elegant proportions, and a touch of sportiness that's still attractive today.
It's a car that looks good from any angle.
And it's not just about the looks. The 406 Coupé is also a joy to drive.
Yeah, we talked about its great handling and its comfortable ride.
Right. It strikes a nice balance between comfort and performance. You can enjoy it on a long road trip or take it for a spirited drive on a winding road.
And let's not forget the Pininfarina connection.
Ah, yes, the Pininfarina factor.
There's something special about owning a car that's been touched by such a prestigious design house.
It adds a certain cachet, a sense of history, and exclusivity.
It's like owning a piece of automotive art.
Exactly. So if you had to sum up the Peugeot 406 Coupé in one word, what would it be?
That's a tough one. But I think I'd go with timeless.
Time.
Its design, its appeal, its legacy. It all transcends time.
I agree. It's a car that will always have a place in automotive history.
Well said. I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about the Peugeot 406 Coupé.
We've gone from its humble beginnings to its lasting impact.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has. And it's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected creations can become the most enduring.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the Peugeot 406 Coupé.
The pleasure was all mine.
And remember, you can find new episodes of Vintage Car Chronicles every day.
On Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, and YouTube.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into automotive history.